Erev Yontif to everybody. As we get ready for Shavuos, I'd like to share with you a thought. 40 some odd days, 49 days have passed by since we started preparing for Shavuos. And many of us unfortunately feel that we didn't fulfill what was expected of us in as much as how much to prepare for Shavuos. That's a negative feeling. And though some of us feel of a brighter future as Corona is being lifted, we would like some inspiration for our Shavuos. I'd like to share with you a thought based on a Shem Mishmuel in regard to Shavuos. Klal Yisrael went from Refidim to Midbar Sinai. Refidim was a place where they had to deal with a lack of Limud HaTorah, and they went from there to Midbar Sinai to receive the Torah. It seems to me quite odd if they had a lack of Torah, that's the springboard to bring them to Kabbalas HaTorah. What is the message? How can we understand this concept? I'd like to share with you a famous story about Rabbi Akiva Eiger. And Rabbi Akiva Eiger had a grandson. His name was Reb Leibel Eiger. He was a Chassidish Rebbe. And he left his Chassidim in the Blin, and he came to Posen to be with his grandfather for Rosh Hashanah. And he was busy making his hachones, and because he was making his hachones, he actually missed out on the event of hearing Tekiyah Shofar by his grandfather, the reason that he came. When he came back to Lublin, the Chassidim asked him, Rebbe, how was it to be by the Zayda for Rosh Hashanah? He said the hachones were gewaldik, but it doesn't compare to the Tekiyas of the Zayda. I missed out. Sometimes we miss out. Sometimes you have a situation we miss out. And sometimes it may be the other way around. The story is told that the Arizal had a makre, as was the makre, and he had somebody who was his Baal Tekeya. And a whole Elul, he spent the time preparing the Baal Tekeya for all the special kavonas, al pi Kabbalah, in order to blow the shofar properly. And the Baal Tekeya was a diligent student. He absorbed all the information. He wrote cliff notes to himself to be able to follow, as he's blowing the shofar, the proper kavanas to have. And they came to Tekiyah Shofar and he couldn't find the paper. He was terrified and he blew the shofar just the way it was. After the davening, the Arizal went over to him and said, you should know the pachad and murder that you had because you lost those notes of all the kavanas, made those tekiyos even greater than if you would have done so with the proper kavanas. Klal Yisrael were Rafa Yudem and HaTorah. They were Rafa Yudem and HaTorah. They were Miyayish. Like us, we're in a Sphira period, and we're trying to get someplace, and sometimes we feel that we aren't getting where we're going, and Yush sets in. One bad thought brings to another bad thought. The Rafa Yudem and HaTorah came Amalek and attack them, bring them to lower levels. What happened after that was Klal Yisrael was mechazik themselves. They were mechazik themselves to the point that they left the Rafa Yudem and HaTorah. They left that aspect and they came to Midbar Sinai. They came to a place of desolation, realizing that they themselves, as much as they have tried to ascend, so to speak, to Har Sinai, they're far from complete. Chazal tell us that the Torah was given on Har Sinai, the lowest of the mountains, and this is to symbolize the anava, the lack of feeling of self-worth that a person is supposed to have on his own accord. And if that's the way the person feels, he will be blessed that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give him a full share. As we prepare ourselves for Shavuos, and some of us feel that we may have lacked in our opportunity of growing during Sfira to the level that we could have grown, we should take comfort, because that lack of feeling of fulfillment is actually what makes us like this small mountain. It makes us a place where Hashras Hashchina can happen, where we are like a midbar, a desolate place, and from there we can ascend the Mitzvah Hashem to Har Sinai and receive the Torah in a greater level. May we be Zaycha that this Yontiv of Shavuos, we rise to the occasion. And as the Shlach Kodesh says, this is the Yom Dim for Torah for the whole year. We should be Zaycha. As we start to bring the Bikurim, that we should be fruitful in our learning, and we should rise to the highest levels possible. Good Yontiv and good Shabbos.